Hey everyone, welcome back to my workbench. I had to revert back to my wired lavalier mic because I have twice had my battery go dead and I'm talking to myself and no one can hear me. So I'm working on the 5200 controllers. I have got just an amazing response for people wanting this controller, and my most recent customer let me know, it's like gave me a little insight of why the 5200 is such a well regarded but interesting system for collectors. Is I didn't know it was the last Atari designed computer game system, and everything else was designed by other people. Like I knew Epix designed the Lynx, and even though the 7200 is apparently developed by an outside company too. So what I've been working on, these are, I am batching out 4 controllers at a time. It's hard for me to do more than that. It gets a little confusing to my brain. But this one is one of 4 basically cable harnesses where you have your keypad, your controls, and then finally your cable here. So now I'm going to use my hot air rework station. Very nice actually, a little rework station, to shrink down the heat shrink tubing. These are nice because I really like this station is how you turn it off and on is basically when you tilt it up, it turns on. If you go vertical, now it's turned itself off, now it's on. So, and as opposed to the old way you used to do things, which was using the just a butane lighter, this is a much more controlled. I have the temperature set to, it's at 230 right now, so it shrinks it without really worrying about melting wires. I think are 300C. So that's nice because when you tilt it up, it goes back to sleep, cools itself off. So most of the wiring for the 5200 is actually for the keypad and control buttons. It's 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, and then 4th is this column. So in the system, it's actually how the system sees it, it's just like this. So kind of neat actually. But yeah, the color codes I found actually were pretty close to what the original 5200 had. So that's done. So I went through and I made a giant bucket-o pre-cut wire, so I can start adding wires to all these. The black wire is the VJC, which is 4.2 volts DC. No, I don't know why it's 4.2 volts, but there it is. Sorry, it is not VJ. Black is the x-axis. White is VJC. Luckily, somebody years ago scanned in like all of the technical documents for the 5200, so there's actually a good amount of knowledge out there on how the system works. That's where I really discovered that it was a true analog reading resistance, that and using my oscilloscope for this. I've just been truly humbled and slightly overwhelmed by how many people just really wanted this analog controller. Now I have a dual stick controller. I'm going to be cutting the plastic on that shortly. So yeah, we got that going on. That's done. And then gray goes to gray. Gray is a weird one. Gray is the common for the buttons. I hope I cut enough of those. I don't think I cut enough gray. Cut enough everything else, but I don't think I cut enough gray. And pink is y-axis and white is the common for the joystick, but I know I cut these too short, so I cut it a little longer. I've got so much yellow wire for some reason, but I do have to thank everyone for all of your interest and patience on building out all these controller joysticks. I originally was expecting maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 initially. I think I've sold 16 of these already. Just crazy just how fast everyone wanted one. So if you're waiting, it's just because stuff is selling so darn fast. Which I'm not complaining, I just never expected the response that I've seen. But it is cool looking though. I mean, I built one a couple the other day, and it's boy, it is neat looking, isn't it? The real challenge, but it was worth it, was designing the dimensionally accurate joystick knob for the 5200. So anyone who actually had a real 5200 will instantly recognize the size and kind of feel of the joystick, except the fact that it's self-centering, which is, I don't know why in the world you wouldn't want a self-centering joystick. Even though, I mean, I've ripped apart quite a few 5200 controllers to see what was in there, and they could have done it. You just need an extension spring is all you would have needed to do it. But that would require some different plastic molding. Yeah, I mean, from an engineering standpoint, it was wouldn't be that hard to have initially done it. But maybe hindsight's 2020. Okay, so we got stick. Okay, there we go. Talking to myself here. As I go through, you can see I'm just adding on heat shrink tubing. The only thing that's killing me right now, Chinese New Year. So I wanted to get more parts on hand. I have a lot of parts on hand, but I don't have parts. The crucial components are mainly the keypad. I have a bunch of these on hand. The keypad, because if I order from US seller, it's $10 a keypad. If I order from China, it's like $2 something for the exact same thing. And it's Chinese New Year right now, so Happy New Year. But nothing's shipping, so I won't get new parts until early March. I do have quite a few parts on hand. I think just enough to finish out all the orders I have on hand. But after this, everything's gonna have to go backlogged a while until I get some till China starts shipping again. But they only get one big holiday a year, so I can't fault the Chinese people for that. China, their biggest problem coming up is their population is gonna implode soon. A healthy population is supposed to be, by age distribution, you're supposed to have a pretty wide base, and then just narrow up as you get towards the top as people die. But theirs is inverted. There's a lot of people getting older and very few people being born. So they had that one child policy for many years, but I think it kind of backfired on them a bit. Just not healthy to not let people have kids like they should. That being said, I only have one child, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with having one kid. And this is the final wire. There's also a violet, 2 wires. Blue is for the trigger, or fire, that one's for the trigger. So I'm just going through here and just finishing off building harnesses. You can see how exciting this is. I got to order some heat shrink tubing. That I ordered from Amazon, so that will be quick. You can see how much like actual like hand labor still goes into building up one of these. That being said, if I really had all the time in the world, wouldn't that be nice? I could probably build up a system in half an hour if I get it synced up right. Is the longest process in this whole thing is the cutting the plastic itself. The CNC takes about half an hour to cut, more or less. And trying to go faster than that, I've wrecked a couple housings, which sucks because it's money, but c'est la vie. Cost of doing business, so I'll just write it off. I'm learning how to do double entry accounting, which is very exciting. So I can keep track of everything for the tax man when the year comes around. Because I don't want to pay tax on revenue, I want to pay tax on profit. And there's no point. Revenue and profit are very different things. I always hear about a company with like X dollars of revenue. It's like, yeah, but what was your profit? Let's get to the bottom line here. Having a gajillion dollars in revenue and losing $1 billion is not really optimal. Shrink tubing. So that, gray. So that finishes up this harness. If I'm here, should I hook in the potentiometers? Let's see. Yeah, even at this level, I can go ahead and see if the gray wire, there you are. Let's see. I'll show you how this works. So on the Atari Max cartridge, if you hold down the fire button, not the trigger, it'll bring up the onboard memory here and lets you do a diagnostic. Alright. Let's grab handy dandy. It's my little potentiometer holder. And this is for the Y. This is for the other Y. I had kind of a couple of bad potentiometers. I think I discovered what I was doing wrong. It might have been my fault. When I put the coupling on here, I was putting too much thrust force on it, and they didn't really seem like thrust. And I could see this one I already did. So, right. Let's see. I think these are all questionable ones. let's grab a new potentiometer then. And capacitors. Pause a second, find my caps. Okay, so here are the capacitors. I'll throw a new cap on there. Here. It doesn't take long. So I think I'm going to try to get in the cadence of doing like 1 or 2 of these done a night so I can clear out this backlog I have going on. I still have parts for 3 more. Yeah, 3 more controllers, but after that, I'm kind of stuck till Chinese New Year's over. Alright, so go to the X first. Tin these all up. So yeah, I made this little holder here. Made this little potentiometer holder. 3D printed it so I can go ahead and keep these held in place so it don't go skittering everywhere. So I put the common on the white. Let me start with the X just because the way the cables are routed. X, tin U. Electronics tinning just means adding solder to a wire. Lead is solder is usually 60% tin. If you ever hear like 60-40, that means 60% lead, 60% tin, 40% lead. If you're using leaded solder. And then finally I have 2 more colors. This is the kind of long, yeah, I'll just leave it long, doesn't matter. This is the Y-axis. Oh, why is he swearing and talking so loud? Black is the X-axis. I'll show you just a second. I'll dial these in. There we go. See, here we had 0, so it was already against one of the stops. Isn't that cool? Make this a little bigger. So look, you go from, this is the X direction, so this is be all the way left. About 71 is centered, and then 4 E4 is to the right. And I go through here and pull out my bucket. These are all 3D printed parts I created. Oh, wrong bucket. Get over here. Where are you? My brackets. No. Come on, I know I built a pile of them. There they are. There they are. So these are little custom printed brackets I made. So I know on the X-axis This one is actually mounted almost perfectly flush with the bottom, so I line it up to be pretty flush there. And then washer. Nut. Like that. And I can actually line that up straight. I 3D printed a wrench. It's thin enough, so if I need to go in later and adjust, I can just use the little wrench for that. So this is the key I found, is you have to hold the shaft of the potentiometer, so when you press it on, the this little guy, this is the coupling, you're pressing on, you're not pressing on the potentiometer itself, you're on the delicate wiper assemblies inside. There we go. Now you can see, let's see. There we go, still works great. 7.2. Back a little bit. You can see how touchy these are. Okay, 7.2. Perfect. So there's your X. There's your Y. And the Y, I designed these so that I know for the X direction, it's one side of the slot, and the Y, it's actually the other side. So that was on purpose. So I don't have to worry about figuring out how I should line it, because I know if it's just basically facing one way or the other. Washer. Make sure you're still okay. Yep, you're fine. Tighten this down. Make this so. Wrench. Wrench. Get a nice snug fit. Like I said, you don't want to press too hard on here, because there's a delicate like leaf spring that'll go and you'll damage it. So I did do a few of them, so sadly. So it took me a few to figure out what I was doing wrong. Now I know. Won't make that mistake again. Like I said, again, you're pushing on the just the shaft without damaging. See how that's nice and still, easily adjusted. Same thing there. All right. So I don't do a final adjust until I assemble it into the 5200. So these are getting real close. So I'm going to go through, finish off a couple more of these tonight, and then maybe later I'll do a video of the final like assembly. But right now, I mean, that's a good. This harness is done. I get 3 more done, so maybe I can get 2 of these done today, and then I can whip out another 2 tomorrow, depending on how I feel, and then be able to actually ship some more of these out. And I need to go downstairs and start cutting some plastic for the dual stick design. I'm looking forward to showing everyone what that one looks like. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I've had a couple interests in that one, so that one might be really popular too, is my guess, when it gets going, because then I know there's only 2 games that require 2 sticks, but people are really big. I think Robotron and something else. I don't know the name of the other one, but people that really want to play dual stick Robotron. So yeah, whatever. If you want it, great. I designed it so you could still use it for a 1-player controller, a 1-player design easily. It just has the buttons like up here. Maybe I'll start cutting that in a minute, because it doesn't require me to do anything. It's just putting it on the CNC and just let it run. But yeah, everyone, again, thank you for all of your support, and it's just been really humbling, and it's I really appreciate it. I never expected to form an LLC this year. I didn't expect to sell so many of these, and every time I post anything on like Facebook or Atari Age, it's just instant dozens of likes and people buying, and it's just, I got to be careful because I need to catch my breath first before I start marketing more, and I probably won't do any more marketing until after the Chinese New Year, so I can get parts in, because I don't want to sell something and not ship it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks just because I can't get the parts in fast enough. But everyone, again, thank you. As anyone who hasn't been here before, I post these videos usually a couple times a week. Sometimes I take some time off, but post a couple times a week, and I don't have any ads on here. Ads annoy the crap out of me. I do this for the fun of it. I don't do this to be rich. I just do this to be as a hobby, to relax, and makes me happy to know people are happy to finally enjoy a game system they love. And again, thank you very much.